I was looking at Bitcoin this morning. Bitcoin, I was long around this area, around 70,000 per coin. Markets erupted. It was one of my best trades this year. And it pulled back, and I had a stop loss, guys, like right there. So I got stopped out. And when I say stopped out, I didn't lose money. Obviously, I made a good profit on this Bitcoin position. But ever since that moment, I've wondered if I made a mistake getting out and putting my stop a little too tight. Now, with that mistake, I didn't chase it, thank goodness, because now markets are rolling over a little bit for Bitcoin. But I am looking at this level now, this 92,000 level, as a possible point where I may rejoin the trade, correct my mistake, and widen my stop a little bit. So I just want to put that out there. That is something that I'm looking for possibly today. If we get a flush down on Bitcoin, I still like Bitcoin to the long side. I do think we probably head to 100,000, and I would like to be in the move rather than watching it happen. But I will have to watch it happen. If it does not give me an entry point, I'm not going to force a trade. I'm not going to chase a trade. This is where I'm at. I like this level, this 92,000 level from a technical perspective makes a lot of sense to me. And I would put a stop likely below the structure low. And if the market tanks, then I just take a loss. But I've been missing Bitcoin. I've been thinking about Bitcoin. I've been having dreams about Bitcoin, about wanting to re-enter my long position. The nice thing sometimes, though, so I was long Bitcoin. The cool thing is I will not re-enter with the same size that trade grew to be. I mean, you guys have to think the trade went up by like 45% at one point, about 40%. Went up like 40%. So I bought an ETF that tracks Bitcoin, IBIT. I was long IBIT, and the position grew by 40% in size, which is immense and very rare. Does not happen to be very often like that. So when I re-enter this trade, it will be a smaller position, which I'm actually glad for. Like, that's one of the things that I like about sometimes trailing out of a trade and then re-entering, is that when I do re-enter, it will be a smaller size. So I liked the trade a lot more over here. I felt like there was way more risk to reward over here because, again, it was pre-election, and both following Trump's first election victory and Biden's election victory, actually, Bitcoin went up. So post-election, I liked that story quite a bit. So I like the trade a lot more over here, but I still like it enough to potentially get long again around 92. NASDAQ near the all-time highs, down just a little bit here, 0.25%. I'll tell you, when it comes to the indices, I would be definitely interested in being a buyer from a momentum basis, looking for a trade here. If we can break through these highs, retest, I like this idea. Possible continuation. I think between now and year end, the path of least resistance for the market is higher. So I like the idea of getting long stocks if I can, finding entries on that. S&P 500, same sort of story here. You're hardly getting any pullbacks here, but if you get some sort of break, retest of structure here, I like the idea of possibly looking for long opportunities. Or if you get a bigger correction, if you get a pullback here, I would certainly be more interested in that. Here's a look at the Edgefinder's current bullish and bearish ratings. Let's go ahead and filter out neutrals. With the change of the month, guys, we've got a lot of seasonality coming into play, right? December is a new month, and with new months, we get new historical seasonality shifts. So we're seeing seasonality start popping up some new interesting ideas. A lot of stuff now on the watch list for me. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on charts this week. Last few weeks, I've had a real light ability to find trades. Bitcoin is an idea that I'm very interested in. I've not seen Kiwi Swiss. That's a new one. The Nikkei, the Russell is getting a bullish rating. So if we get a dip in the Russell, I'm interested. Copper's flying though today. I could be wrong, but I believe copper is up and away. NASDAQ, SPX, Dow Jones, platinum. We're getting some industrial metals getting long bullish biases. We're getting oil bullish biases, which is quite interesting. And also trend is not currently agreeing with that. You can see, even though we're getting a bullish rating because of other factors, perhaps stronger than expected. Actually, am I missing something? Hold up. Oh, it did. U.S. manufacturing PMIs beat expectations. Was that yesterday? Guys, I was so out of it yesterday because of the closing. Oh, that's why. ISM manufacturing yesterday beat. All right, good news. That's actually great news for industrial commodities. So I like that call. The Edge Finder, I'm telling you, man, this is why I love this thing so freaking much, is because I can be out sick or closing on a house or, I don't know, jumping out of an airplane. And this thing is still tracking the economic data for me. And it told me my own strategy before I even figured out the data. Now, I know people always love to push back in my comment section. They're like, of course you love it so much. Of course you talk so high. You're selling it. Like, oh, you make all your money from selling software. I'm telling you, man, I show all the time my live broker statements. I preach by it. I find it very important to do so. I don't do it to brag and show you, oh my gosh, because if you wanted to, you can compare me to traders who make way more than me, right? There's social media influencers who are making millions of dollars in a month or something like that. That's not me. But I do make money in the markets, and I do show so because I sell something. I believe it's really important that if you're going to sell something, that you also show proven profitability. I love this software so much because it tells me, before I even get a chance to look at all the economic data myself, it tells me, generally speaking, how I'm going to feel bullish or bearish about certain things. Absolutely love it. Oil's getting a bullish rating because manufacturing PMIs beat yesterday, and that changed the whole scoring enough to actually put us into bullish territory. Contra brute, okay? The Edge Finder is a contra brute, okay? So love that. We had manufacturing PMI beat. All right. When we are looking at U.S. oil, however, I still don't love the chart, not going to lie, but I'll look for breakouts. Yeah, I don't love this chart. I'll tell you that. I don't love the technical setup. And this is important to distinguish. The Edge Finder might be giving oil a bullish rating, but that doesn't mean that I go out and take a buy on oil. It just means that, okay, factors are looking tentatively bullish. Now, what am I looking for? Well, because the Edge Finder is giving me that bullish rating, I'm now going to hunt for bullish setups. So what I see here on the daily chart, which is where I do a lot of my analysis, we've got key levels of resistance right around 71.50. I'd like to see that break. If we get something like that, boom, I like that a lot. I could, although this is not really how I like to trade my momentum strategy, and so I won't actually take this trade, but you theoretically, somebody who trades a little different, maybe they're looking at a retest of support, and maybe you're willing to trade this range. I mean, you do what you want. None of this is obviously financial advice. I'm just sharing, my personal way to look for this would be, I'd like to see momentum pick up for oil, and then any pullback, as long as we still have that bullish rating on the Edge Finder, I like that quite a bit. Edge Finder helped me to sell all the yen pairs yesterday, and today all profited. Awesome. That's awesome. I mean, that's the thing. The Edge Finder is not going to do all the homework for you. It's not an automatic homework doer, but it certainly helps you. It's kind of like, how all the kids are using ChatGPT now to do their homework, right? I sound like old AF saying that. All the kids these days are using ChatGPT, but you know what I mean. Like everybody's using ChatGPT to do their homework and get stuff done. You still kind of have to have a knowledge of what you're asking ChatGPT, and probably using ChatGPT to help do your homework honestly probably helps you more than just doing it yourself. I know from personal experience, not being a student not that long ago, that if I had like ChatGPT to help me do physics homework or something. I went to school for CS, and some of those classes, computer science, some of those classes were so above my brain capacity. ChatGPT would have been a game changer because I would have actually learned stuff like more effectively. Anyways, my point with that is that I don't even know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I completely lost it. Anyways, WTI, interested to see if we can break 72. I like that idea if we do get that.
So, portfolio update, doing good so far. Currently still shorting euro dollar, nothing's changed. So you can see I've got some DCA positions on here, sold down here yesterday, scaled in again this morning, and again not too long ago. So for targets on euro dollar, you can see here I've currently got 3 targets on. We've got 1.0, actually let me just double check what this one is. 1.03, 1.02, and 1.01. I'm looking for one more additional position, and then that position take profit will be at parity, which is 1.0. But yeah, that's the situation on euro dollar. I'm also currently short on the Dow as well, right here. So I'll go over the Dow position. It's nothing complex. It's actually a very boring idea, to be honest. So if we have a look on the Dow, so you can see, essentially, we're just seeing waves. It's a very classic uptrend here. So we had I think it's around 6-7% to the upside. We have now had 5.25%. I'm just looking for the second wave to the downside, also to fill this market gap that still hasn't been filled. So that's it. So very, very simple. Basically just trying to catch this pullback. And so far, it's looking quite good. It's a very small position, really. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. No issues. Anwin, I'm good. How are you doing? Why is GPY so strong? Oh, Gareth, I saw your message. JPY. JPY is strong because we've got 2 things. We've got Bank of Japan rate hikes coming. It's almost, in fact, it's 100% expected that we're going to get a rate hike from the BOJ in December. We also have, excuse me, we also have an extremely high, or we did have an extremely high likelihood of a MOF intervention. Although that may not be the case now, as the yen is starting to strengthen, this hike may have done the job for the MOF, so we'll have to see. But essentially, it's a hawkish tone from the central bank in Japan that's helping drive some buying inflow. So that's essentially it from the yen. In terms of like day-to-day data, it's still pretty shockingly bad, but you know, if we've got a hawkish central bank and the majority of other major central banks are dovish, then it's, you know, we've got a clear winner. Ding, ding, ding. So looking for euro yen, this is sort of the main watch I've got at the minute. I'm a bit salty because I didn't quite get the entry I wanted. I was looking really towards this previous level of support for a very normal break and retest. The problem is this retest just wasn't high enough. Oh, it wasn't actually a retest. This pullback just wasn't high enough. So unfortunately, didn't get the entry, but I still remain bearish. Let's see what's going on. Benny, hello. Your EU looks like it's got chicken pox. Any suggestions on Swiss yen? Actually, Anwin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool. I showed it to Nick, and I'm not sure if Nick's done anything with it yet. Let me just quickly find it. Just give me one moment. So, this was Swiss yen. Oops, sorry. This was the Swiss yen edge finder reading. You can see very clearly, -6, bearish reading. And then if we go and have a look at what Morgan Stanley, so this is a bank report from Morgan Stanley. It was on page 80. So what page is this? 67. Where are we at? 78. So we're almost there. Here. Swiss yen short, 17th November. Entry level, target, stop loss. Rationale. I don't know if you guys can actually read this. I'm not sure if my quality is a bit lower for you guys. But essentially, you know, you've got a bank signal on the edge finder that's been taken by Morgan Stanley, and this is their position laid out here. I actually took this. It was a very, very similar position. I made a nice 1% off that one. But yeah, I think overall we can still remain bearish on pound yen, euro yen, Swiss yen, Australian dollar yen, US dollar yen, all of the yen pairs. Sorry guys, I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I need to keep doing the coffee thing. So actually, yes, back to your point. If you are looking to trade Swiss yen, it's kind of in no man's land right now. You're in between levels, really. There's nothing here to really stop price. You've got a very minor support level here, but I don't really see that being enough to support price, or at least induce any buyers. So really from here, we might see some natural slowing and pullbacks, but overall it wouldn't be a surprise if we can go into 165 or 165.4. But yeah, I think that would really be my target. It's interesting, they've got a target all the way down here, so you've got plenty of time really to try and get into this trade, but it's just melting at the moment. CHF hasn't moved as much as other yen pairs. Yeah, well, the CHF is quite a core currency, if you will. It's like a stable one. It's a good old reliable, if you will. Hi James, but even with rate hike, it will still be way lower than USD or all other ones. Yeah, I mean, when you've got something that's strong like the yen and the dollar, the yen might still overall be a bit weaker than the dollar, which is why, you know, 1 yen doesn't equal 1 US dollar, if that makes sense. But it doesn't mean... Actually, let me pull up the chart to make it a bit easier, I guess. Let's go to the daily here. So we've had all of this buying on dollar yen. And this was basically just because Japan had nothing to offer to buyers. And obviously they had lower interest rates, which meant we could do a really nice carry trade. So you would get paid. If you bought down here, you would not have just profited from the actual pip movement, you would have been profiting from holding the trade itself. Whereas that's not really the case anymore. So we're seeing obviously outflow of carry trades, we're seeing profit taking, we're seeing more hawkish BOJ. And the situation, the landscape for this market is just not what it was. So we are going to see a movement to the downside, regardless of whether the yen is as strong as the dollar or not, if that makes sense. Hey James, where do you see gold going in the next 2 weeks? Do you think year end would be all-time high test for gold? That's a good question. Let's see. I'm actually completely out of gold in terms of my attention. I haven't really looked at gold at all recently. I know it's bullish on... Oh, it's actually not. It was bullish very briefly on the edge finder, but it's gone. And that was the only indication I had to maybe buy this market. And right now, there isn't anything. So when I trade gold, I will only ever go in for a gold position in two situations. One, if the technicals and if we've got stable fundamentals that relatively support gold but nothing overwhelming, and the technicals is just so obvious, I'll take it, which we don't have in this situation. Or if we've got a really strong catalyst, so if we've got some sort of escalation in the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, or we've got terrible US dollar news, then again that'll be a catalyst to buy. And at the moment there is neither of those factors for me. Caught a lovely sell on GC 20R. Wow, 20R. You made my quarterly return in one trade. Oh, we do have news. Good point. Let me pull it up so I don't forget. We've got job openings in just under 4 minutes. Why would you follow that crap report? Banks are supposed to create liquidity to take money from other traders. Why would they starve themselves with liquidity? Oh, Jason, you poor man. The bank reports aren't a public thing. They don't send them out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the road. The report I showed you is for private investors in that bank. So it's basically saying, what if I invested with you, I would want to know what trade you're looking at, why you're looking at them, what's your view, what's your outlook. And you wouldn't go and broadcast that to everyone because that's your idea, it's your proprietary information, and that's what you would send to me as a client. And that's the same situation, just that I have access to them.
News-wise, I mean, the big ones this week, we have non-farm payroll on Friday. I'm looking to see if there's any outlier levels on the QQQ or the SPY. Right now, things are still pretty quiet. Next week is going to be pretty interesting. So we have non-farm payroll this week on Friday. Next week, we have US CPI, US PPI, and we have 3 rate decisions. We have Bank of Canada, Swiss National Bank, and European Central Bank all next week. So Forex could be a lot of interesting going into next week's trading. Let's just do a spot check on some of these currencies. I'm still long Aussie CAD. Plan is to take it back up to this resistance around 95. I'm still scalping my Aussie Swiss. I'm holding a long core position, but I'm scalping like every time we kind of test these levels. I'm just looking at these little like 20 pip winners. Yen pairs. I'm staying out of the yen, but I'm wondering if there is another kind of like seasonality move on the yen. Maybe, maybe not. Just keep an eye on it. Just don't like over leverage on the yen crosses. Aussie New Zealand, just not in a spot that I like. I think I mentioned this one earlier this week. If we come back down into some support, I wouldn't mind scooping some up. If we come back under resistance, I wouldn't mind selling it. If this is just going to be a channel trade, we'll see. You know, maybe something like that. But I would love to see some type of topping pattern to just trade a range. Just don't have it yet. Aussie dollar, I'm scaling into the longs. Looking to buy in at these lower levels, 64, 63, and 62. Willing to take it all the way down to 6,000. So those are pending orders on Aussie dollar. That one might be filled by the end of the year, and I'll hold on to that going into Q1 of next year. CAD Swiss still scalping and holding long for some positive swap. CAD yen, Swiss yen. Swiss yen I'm actually short on. It's up a few bucks there, up about $112. And I'm just going to measure this move. So let me go. Where's my rectangle? There we go. So high to low. So high to low, and look at some potential symmetry. So if we hit the lows back around 165 or 163, I'd be okay with that. I'm going to set a chart line here around 164.50. And that's going to be a good enough measured move. So that means if we go high, low, lower high, lower low, good enough. Now, could that be like this bigger top in this currency? Yeah, maybe. You know, we could have a channel working our way lower. We could have, you know, bigger trends, all this crazy uptrend that we've seen for years and years and years on the Swiss yen. I mean, this is no joke. I mean, look at this thing. Going back to 2020, the Swiss yen has gone up 7,100 pips. Wow. And this is kind of the first real, you know, pattern and pullback that we've seen outside of a little correction back in 2022. Crazy stuff. So anyway, I'm currently short on this currency pair. I'm just going to hold it towards symmetry. I didn't get it aggressive as I you know, initially was going to, just because it is the yen. So took off a little bit of the trade size. Euro Aussie, anything here? No, stuck between a couple levels. Euro CAD, I'm looking for a sell opportunity. I just don't trust the correlation right now with like the oil prices like sitting at those lows and peppering those lows. If oil ends up breaking lower, I don't see the CAD getting too much stronger. I'm also still long dollar CAD, so Euro CAD I'm just going to stay out of for right now. Euro Swiss, I am just holding Euro Swiss long, and looking to see if this will eventually hold support, get on the right hand side of this, and start to make its way back up towards 99 or 1.00. There's a big pocket all the way back here. So just holding. Euro pound, I am just slightly under break even on the euro pound. I'm holding long on this one. I actually like the technicals on this. So we go back to kind of post Brexit. There's some inefficiencies here where I've got a stop loss just around this. Okay, so back to 2016. I'm long euro pound to see if this support level from 2020 and 2022 and 2024, if we hold, hopefully we have a little bit of a push to the upside. We'll see what the ECB does next week. Euro yen no trade. Euro New Zealand stuck between a range. So, you know, I would buy Euro New Zealand around the 74 handle. I'd look to sell it around the 85 handle. Euro dollar. Euro dollar hanging out at 105. Let me ask, who's short euro dollar or who's long euro dollar? Does anybody do anything on euro dollar? I don't know if we have a, official top yet on the dollar index. I talked about this yesterday. I'm just saying, be a little cautious on like calling the top. I mean, I could see the dollar still being a little choppy in here through the holidays. We do have an ECB rate decision next week. We still have the Fed on the 18th. So, I mean, I'm still looking for a topping opportunity on the dollar. It looks like a pattern right here if we don't invalidate this high, but that pocket is right there. So I could see price, kind of testing and, I don't know, being a little tricky at these levels. But I'm still going to look for a topping pattern on the dollar index. Worst case scenario would be that the dollar comes all the way back up here, which I think that's doubtful. So anyway, euro dollar. I didn't mind looking at some buys around the 105 handle. I just was a little shocked to see that was a really nasty flush through the 103.30. That's a nasty spill from, pretty strong support around 105, and those PMI numbers and probably a bit of a liquidity flush all the way down to 103.30. Anyway, long story short, I think, well, I'm just going to say wishful thinking. If the euro dollar is going to retest this level or come into parity, I'm really interested in buying anything like parity and lower, like this. I would love an opportunity to scoop up some euro dollar long. I just don't know if this is going to be the bottom, So if that level holds, then I could definitely see a high to low. We pull back into like 107.50 to 108.00, and this is just support. This is resistance, and the dollar ends up going back into a range, and the euro dollar also ends up going back into a range. So Godspeed if you're holding. I'm going to kind of hold out and wait for a bigger opportunity where I'd be willing to hold this thing for like months at a time, but probably nothing right now. So we'll see. Just don't look. I'm just telling you, like, I'm not calling the bottom here. So don't be surprised if we have another flush lower where it's here, a little bit of indecision, maybe pulls back and gets everyone excited around 106, but all this acts as resistance, and then we have another flush lower. So if we have another flush lower, I'll be looking at oversold conditions, looking to see if we bounce off parity. Then I'll start looking to scale back in euro dollar wise. So I don't know, maybe it's a big trade opportunity for 2025, but something where I'm not really wanting to call like the top or the bottom on the dollars right now. Pound Aussie range bound, pound CAD no trade, pound Swiss I'm long, pound yen, it's a yen pair, be careful. Pound New Zealand still range bound. I do like the pound New Zealand. If we come back to resistance or we come back to support, interested in buying low or selling high, just keep an eye on this one. If this structure, let's say we pull back in here, pop back up to the upside, there could be a little bit of a breakout coming to retest those highs. So maybe something in the interim if you're watching. Pound US dollar, I did take a small buy trade on the pound US dollar. It didn't fill me at my second level. or maybe, no, that's my net position, sorry. So that's my net position. I'm upside down a little bit. I'm long pound dollar right now off of the daily trend line, plus the, what I was hoping for was a, below the 200 EMA, back above the 200 EMA, and then just a little correction back into this pocket here. So like I said, there could be wishful thinking. The stop loss is there, so in case it does go lower, I'll get out of it. But we'll see. New Zealand CAD. Still long on this one, looking to get back towards 88. New Zealand Swiss. Scalping. Every little pullback and 20 pip scalp, that's fine. Plus, I'm holding to a symmetry swing at 55. I'd like to say I'm going to hold this one towards 6,000, but we'll see. If we have this low, so this low to this high, that's my measured move towards symmetry. If that's a 3-wave, there could be a 4 and a 5 that gets me back up towards like 58. So I'll keep an eye on these measure moves for some of these Swiss crosses. I'm still holding these. It's been a long time, man. This is kind of annoying thing. If it wasn't for positive swap, I would be way more frustrated on these Swiss pairs, but I've actually generated a decent amount of capital profits just by having positive swap. So I'm not saying that's fun, because I've had 2 years of basically zero profits other than swap. So we need to see something new happen on the Swiss crosses. Hopefully the Swiss National Bank will stay neutral to dovish, maybe cut more rates. We'll find out. Depends on their inflation situation. And New Zealand dollar. Currently long on this one for some open space. This is not the point that I'd say there's a bottom, but I'm testing there and there and there. So I'll test the levels. We've got some multi-year support on the New Zealand dollar, similar to the Aussie dollar. I do think that the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar will behave differently than the euro and the pound. Against the dollar, Aussie dollar versus New Zealand dollar, if we have risk appetite and we have some positive flows out of China, we typically see risk appetite favor the Aussie and the New Zealand dollar over the US dollar. I think those would probably behave better than holding, euro dollar long or pound dollar long. But just going to watch. Dollar CAD, I'm still long. Trading at 40.71. Hopefully we'll be revisiting this like 4,200 level soon, going all the way up towards 45 or higher. Dollar Swiss, I'm still long. Going to hold long towards 92, looking at dollar cost average in. Dollar yen. I don't know. Follow your short-term alignments. Perhaps this is a high to low. I'd be surprised if this is a lower high to lower low. I wouldn't be surprised to see this. There's a high to low, and then we go here and here and here and here and here and here. I could see the dollar yen doing something like that before we have a bigger move one way or the other. So just be careful. Trade your short-term alignments. If you're trading the yen crosses, you got to follow alignments and kind of scalp. I don't think there's a big position trade here, and it's also a massively expensive negative swap. If you're holding, dollar yen short, it's a negative swap, like pretty bad. And the brokers will make you realize that pretty quickly. So that is what I'm trying to avoid, is getting stuck in a negative swap position.
Did you know we do a live trading show Monday through Friday with guests from all over the world? To get notified when we go live, click the bell button next to the subscribe button, or check in at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have helpful, free content in the description below and on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you tomorrow.